I don't have any extras. The foundations teachers would, so check with one of them. I mean, I can show you one, but I don't have any extras. I mean, what you're probably looking for this. I should have not written on this, like, no copies of it, but they have copies. So check with the foundations teachers. They got copies. No, that's Iowa helping us figure out what. So I'll know that you're ready to move on and check homework when we have 113 out. But it's not. We don't turn in our homework before we check it. Notice how it says check, then turn in. Check, then turn in. All right, so 113 should be out. 113 should be out, guys. You probably thought you lost it and grabbed a second one or something, so go ahead and give me one of those back if you would. Her legs don't work once she sits down. It's this weird thing. All right, so some questions that came to me about like averaging are when there's a zero. Hey guys. Yeah, class is starting now. We're like 5 minutes into it, but now we're starting. When there's a zero, we do still add that up, even though it doesn't do anything. And it does still count as a number. We're checking your homework now. Guys, don't make me micromanage you. Like, you know that if you're drawing or reading, like, we're going to have to correct that. The only thing you should be doing right now is checking your homework. Also, I kind of stopped having you get the next homework immediately, because then there were too many distractions. So the only thing we should be doing right now is looking at 113. I did not write the answer here for A, because sometimes when you go look at my work, I won't have the answer, because I want to see that you actually, like, know what you're doing. So what was the answer for A? When you added them up and divided by 5, Caleb, what'd you get? Or, sorry, Donovan? My bad. I don't know why my brain just mixed up the two of you.
I got 79.
79, any confirmation? 79, so A was 79. B, I went ahead and showed you the answer, 1.5. And C, what do we get for C? 23. Confirm? Yeah? Other people get that? All right, moving on to the back. There are options. Guys, and as you start to use my answer keys, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, use my answer keys, you'll notice that I flagged some things, like when we need common denominators, so we'll get to that. But up here, what I flagged was you have a choice. You can either put stories on top, feet on bottom, or feet on top, stories on bottom. I chose feet on top, right? I went this way. So you've got the option, but I'm covering this up because the way I went is feet on top. So then, like we did in class, how do I go from how do I go from 1 story to 2 story, or to 10 stories, or to 30 stories? June?
So what I did is so for 10 story, I did 15 times 10.
Yeah, because we got to do times 10. If we start at the 1, right? June's saying she started at 1, times 10 to get to 10 stories. Do the same on top. That's how we get 150 feet. Any questions on the building problem? Any questions on the building problem? All right, scooching on to our fractions. So take a second to check that out. That might have been tough for you, so if you need to copy some stuff down or fix things, guys, you are allowed to fix things right now. If you get it wrong, you need to be thinking about, why did I get this wrong? What did I do? Do I need to ask a question? This is like some of the most important class time, is realizing what mistakes we've made, which is fine. Mistakes are great. Sometimes, like when I installed my toilet wrong and it leaked to the first floor, that mistake literally stunk. But yes, I did. First time I changed the toilet, I did it wrong. So, to compare fractions, you need common denominators. Notice how somebody made a note there. So, a common denominator that we can get to is 16, right? So, 3/4 to get to a 16 turns into 12/16. So, if 3/4 is 12/16, it must be bigger. And remember, that's the greater than symbol. Margo, does it make sense now? I see a lot of erasing, which you do not have to do. You can cross stuff out if you want to save your eraser. Well, okay. I'm just trying to make your life easier. Really?
What if I didn't solve that problem like that?
If you solved it in a way that solved it correctly, there are Did we talk about multiple ways to get to Florida yesterday? So we're all going to go on vacation together, right? Not actually, because you probably won't want to. At least by the time I've given you 80 homework assignments. But if we're going to go meet up at Disney, do we all have to get there the same way? What if you want to fly and I want to drive? Could we still meet up at Disney? So guys, that's math, right? We are trying to get to the same destination. A lot of times there are options for how we get there. So, Layla, did you turn them into decimals and compare them?
I drew it. I drew a box.
Yeah, you can do that as well. Yep, which actually you probably did common denominators, just visually did common denominators. I'm thinking that you did, you just maybe didn't write out the numbers. What's up, Rafael? Absolutely. Any other questions? The screen we're looking at right now. All right, so now here's your perimeter and area of those shapes. Remember, parallelogram solves the same as a rectangle. It is base times height. Any questions? You're all good. Or since you're going to start learning Spanish soon, ¿más preguntas? What? Preguntas is how you say questions in Spanish. Preguntas. It's a fun word to say. You are going to start to learn some Spanish. I think Mr. Combs even has your day of the week up there in Spanish. Yesterday was miércoles. Today is viernes? Yeah. All right, any other questions? Remember, we should have our homework done before we come to class. You should not need all of the time to copy this down. Gabe. You improved on it? Is that what you said? Yeah, and if we start to train our brain to say it's just like rectangles, it gets less intimidating, right? Now, trapezoids are still intimidating, but that's why we didn't have another trapezoid on this homework. We just did parallelogram rectangle. All right, assuming that that is done like it should be, check that you have your last name on there. Guys, you're making my job harder. My grade sheet is alphabetical by last name. If you don't put your last name on there, it's making my work harder. And guys, know that I work really hard, but I don't want to work harder than I have to. Please put your last name on there. Also, I want to get to know you first and last name. So then we can think up sweet nicknames. All right, turn it in. Assuming it's done, turn it in. If it's not done, finish it later and turn it in later. Now, we are actually a tiny bit ahead of the other Math 7 class, so I first want to say good job, guys. You did a really good job yesterday.
So we had to work it. You made it work.
Not major. You guys just did well. You did a good job. So tomorrow, we might actually get a chance to do a little Desmos activity, like a little online game that they might not get to. But today, we need out our 114 that we had out yesterday, so go ahead and pull that out. So you can always check the school. You can come meet with me later. We're going to move on to your class right now. Hang on to this now if you want to. There's no points. Right? There's no points. And the fact that you came to talk to me about this, does it make sense to you? So that what I showed on the board makes sense to you. Watch, this is how we do things at Phoenix. Now I know we talked about it. Well, yeah, you did actually. That was harsh. Friends. You're like the little kid that you get to babysit that just learned about swear words.
Are we being recorded?
Yeah, you are. Yeah, so I'm going to send this to your parents and say, look at all the bad language. All right. Who can refocus us who can refocus us on what we were doing yesterday. And I don't think I need to give pennies back because I think we collected all the data that we needed. So, Alex, what were we doing yesterday?
What we were doing is we were stacking pennies and saying how much pennies we fit in centimeters, which is 3 centimeters, 5, 10, 20, 30.
Yeah, so you have a table on your paper, right, like this. So let's make sure we all have this filled in together. So, random cards opportunity. Great chance to use random cards. Now remember, if you don't have it filled in, that's okay. You can just pass. Right? No deal if you pass. I just put you back in the stack. Ivan, what did we say for 1 centimeter? Now you guys moved around. Ivan, what did we say for 1 centimeter? How many pennies? 7. So let's make sure that we all agreed. Because it was like between 7 and 8, and not every penny is the same thickness. But we're going to say 7. Everyone good with that? We got 7 on our paper for 1 centimeter. Which then means if we go to 2 centimeters, kind of like what we saw in your homework with the building problem. Margot, how many? 14. Donovan, what about 3 centimeters? 21. Lindy, and if we're using rulers as helicopters, let's please fight that urge because it means you're totally distracted trying to get lift instead of checking your math. Lindy, what about 4 centimeters? 28. Destiny, what about 5? 35. Ooh, now we jump. So you could have just been adding, right? You could have just been adding 7. But now it gets tougher, right? June, how could we figure out 10 centimeters? 10 centimeters. I don't know about 7. Oh, wait, why?
Because if 7 is 1 centimeter, we need 10.
Oh, so what you're saying is this over here, and guys, you might want to draw this on your paper if you didn't recognize that like June did. That's times 10. So what June is saying is if that did times 10, and because this is proportional, right, 0 pennies would be 0 height, this also needs to be times, what's 7 times 10? 70. I like purple better. All right, 70. Addie, what about 20 centimeters? 140. Now, how did you get there? Did you do like times 20, or is there an easier way? So times 20 works. Miss, what's the easier way?
Just do 7 times 2 and then add a 0 at the end.
Yeah, that, or you can also recognize, how do I go from 10 to 20?
You can just double
Times 2. So this is really just times 2. So likewise, how do I go from 10 to 30? Times 3, or we could go from 3 to 30, right? You've got options. Lots of ways to get to Florida. So what number, how many pennies for 30? Anybody? 210. Oh yeah, because like 21, but now we put the 0 on, so 210. And then, oh yeah, because like 70 for 10, but now for 100, we have 700. Does everybody have this filled in? This will be something where I look at your paper and expect this to be done on your paper. Because I know we're doing it all together. But then, let me check what's on your notes. I forget what I put on here. Not stealing homework. I'm just debating where to take this with the time that I have left. So what if we see a table like this? What's different about this? It starts similar. Gabe?
Well, you don't have the last number on the head of the tower, and it's 100 pennies. It only says 100 pennies on the other side, on the number of pennies. And then there's just 2 ...
Oh yeah, okay, so good identification that this is meaning there's some sort of gap in the data, right? There's some sort of jump. And Gabe brought up this table has 100 pennies on the right side, whereas the table on your paper all has just the height given to us, right? They didn't ever give us the amount of pennies. Where would 100 pennies, right? If you look at your table, where would 100 pennies probably fall? Between 70 and 140. Talk with your teammates or teammate real quick. They get an approximation for how many pennies, how tall do you think 100 pennies is? $1 worth of pennies, how tall would it be? Talk with each other, take like a minute. And write something down. Like write it down somewhere, graph paper, on your homework paper, I don't care. Write it somewhere. Like you got space here that you can do some math and write this out. No calculators yet. Talk first without calculators. Yeah. I don't know. Would it be how much? You don't have that? Do this. You don't have the next table. But all the next table does is we could draw a line under this and put 100 here. Now it won't obviously. Wait a minute. I think I just realized something. Alright, so wait, Lily and Margot are kind of like in this. I'm trying to get better. They kind of pointed out my notes are a little lacking. My notes don't have the next table. So hold up, we can fix this though. Let's add that part of that table to our table. So you're on your paper, draw a line under your 100 and your 700. Extend this, and what are we trying to solve now? Christian, what are we trying to solve?
The 100 pennies.
100. So right or left side? For amount of pennies? Right side up here, right? Now you can use a calculator. See if you can accurately figure out how many pennies this would be. Yeah, I don't want to answer. Talk with your teammates. I don't want answers right up here. So if you go back to it, it should because you're trying to subtract nothing, right? Like you gotta have some sort of number there. I hit clear, but then you can go up and see what happened. So once you got 46, you then tried to subtract, but then you didn't type in the number, and that's why you got 9. Now you are allowed to use a calculator. So I should see that 100 written on your paper. I should see that 100 written on your paper, right? You just squeeze it right there. It's okay. It doesn't have to be nice and neat. Guys, my homework was always pretty sloppy. What do you think of that, here, Raphael? Can I check that you got 100 on there? Sweet.
Oh, I know what it is.
Could you make a guess of how we can make that 7 to 1? Like, use a calculator? So, if I try to minus 600 from my height of my tower, that makes sense to do a subtraction.
Okay.
My job is to teach you. I gotta talk with every kid. How else can we get small? Other than subtraction, what other operation can we do? So there's addition, subtraction, multiplication. What's that other operation? Addition, subtraction, multiply. What's like multiply? You give me this and then I'll multiply. What's the other operation? You make numbers small. Division. Exactly like we did higher up on your table, except we were getting bigger and we were multiplying. Guys, you're going to want to write this on your paper. How, Gabe, where you at, Gabe? Help me out. That was so dumb. When I look at you, I know your name. And then I pulled your card and I was like, wait, where's Gabe? I'm silly. Gabe, how? So up here we were multiplying, but if I draw this arrow, what are you thinking we're going to need to do to go from 700 to 100? Divide. Now, the other thing, and a couple of you told me this as we walked around, the other thing that you might think in your head is subtract 600. But does subtraction make sense when, like, we come over here? Not really, right? Like, can I subtract 600? No. So we want to, guys, I would write this on your paper. Divide by 7. So divide by 7. And what's your answer? Donna? 14.2. 14.28571. How do I know all those decimals? You do math long enough, you start to memorize things. That is 1/7, effectively. Yes.
So you wrote down 14 and 2/7. Does that work as well?
That is 2/7. The 0.285714 that you get on that is 2/7. Yeah. Now, hold on. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Ooh, you guys are impressive. You guys might be the best class we've ever had. Because normally when teachers ask, does this make sense? Kids immediately are like, no, because they think the teacher's like setting them up for something. So, does 14.28 make sense? Well, to figure that out, what are we talking about? Ivan? So we could round it. I agree. But and this is already rounded, right? Because this is actually 2857. There's more decimals. This is already rounded. But there's something else we need to give this number to see if it makes sense. Could I have 14.2 pennies? No, but is this pennies?
No.
What is this? Centimeters. Can we have a partial centimeter? Yeah, of course we can. We have partial lengths all the time. Could we have a partial penny? Not really. Except Mr. Hudson's story time, if you would like. If you're really opposed to Mr. Hudson's story time, you can go to the bathroom or whatever. So my friends and I in college were always kind of ornery. You know, if you don't miss this story, I do not care, but you might. So we get an ad in the newspaper, right? And my friends and I are kind of mathematical. It's fine. I don't care if you guys miss this. And the ad is supposed to say this. But what the ad actually says is that. What's the difference between those two numbers? Christian? What does 0.50 with this label on it mean? Margo?
The dollar sign. So if it has a number point cents, it's gonna have the dollar sign.
So that means like half a dollar, right? Like half of a dollar, which is what? 50 cents or 50 pennies.
If you just wrote 50 cents with that,
Yeah.
that would be correct. But if you have the 0 point, it has to have the dollar sign because the 0 represents the number.
So this is half of a penny. Guys, literally, we cut pennies in half. We had scissors that would do it. We went to Sonic. This was Sonic. My buddy, he actually had like shop scissors that they cut sheet metal. Yeah, they cut through sheet metal. So now don't do this because technically you're not supposed to impact currency, but we glued it back together later. I'm not even joking. We were silly. So we go to Sonic and we press the little button. Who's been to Sonic, right? You drive in and there's like the speaker thing and you order and they like skate out to you, or some of them don't skate anymore. So we order our food and we say, yeah, we've got this coupon, chicken sandwiches are just half a cent. And there's radio silence. And they go, excuse me, what? And we go, yeah, we've got this coupon. It says your chicken sandwich is half a cent. And they say, hold on, we're going to send the manager out. And the manager comes out and he says, you know this ad is a misprint. I go, I don't know that. I got mailed this. We have half pennies right here. We would like our chicken sandwiches, please. It did not work out. They did not give us our chicken sandwiches for half a penny. Although they did give us like a free, I forget what it was, and he said, I'm going to call whoever made this ad, because it wasn't him, it was corporate, I guess. But it was an ad for his Sonic, right? He was the manager. He was very upset by this. But guys, all of that to say, labels are critical. This doesn't make sense unless you cut a penny in half. But does a partial centimeter make sense? Yeah, you can have partial centimeters. That's fine. Label your numbers. Ask yourself if it makes sense. Cool? Try the next problem on your own with your teammates about the building in Taipei. Try that with your team. Which, I forget what number it is. 33? 33. We're trying 33. This is not 33 yet. Sorry. But 33 is on your paper, bud. All right, so those people have that. We're on 33 now. It's on your paper. It kept changing. There was this whole competition, and then it came down to, are we including the radio tower or not? For a while, it was the CN Tower in Chicago. Then it was a building in Taipei, and then it was a building in India.
How tall is the Empire State Building compared
Not very. Now the Empire State Building looks small compared to some of the. Not very. The Eiffel Tower is not very big, actually. Here, you guys solve the math problem. I'll try to look up a visual of the different heights of tall buildings. Okay, like to show you guys a visual.
How many stories are below you and you're on the 91st floor? Is that like too easy? That's funny.
What's the next one?
All right, so here you go. By popular demand, like we've already talked about, I am distractible.
Hold on. The first
Miss?
one's from Dubai, right? The first one?
Yeah, Dubai. Yep, or I'm probably saying it wrong. But-
Okay.
So guys, this is by country, or sorry, by continent, not by country. That would be a lot of countries. So by continent, Asia, America, Europe, Oceania, America, Africa. So here are your comparisons of your buildings. So like in America, it's in Chile, which is technically, or sorry, that's South America. Where's North America? There's North America. Oh, so now it's One World Trade Center. The building, at least when this graphic was made, this could be wrong now, but One World Trade Center just opened like a few years ago, right? And it's because of the towers that they put on top of it. They're radio towers and stuff. That's also the Willis Tower is the one in Chicago. It used to be called the CN Tower.
What if the Twin Towers still there? I thought they fell.
They did. So that's the One World Trade Center. That is where the Twin Towers were. Yeah, so they built that in like memoriam or and there's a museum. You can go down and see the museum.
Wait, why is Russia in Europe?
That's getting too deep into the geography, and I am not certified to teach geography. Trust me. All right, we got to wrap this up. So. What if I was going to start highlighting, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, we're going to start highlighting a lot soon. If I were going to start highlighting, Christian, what numbers up here are important, and what can I not worry about?
91.
91, so like 91st floor, right? Because we need those labels. What else? Is that the only important number?
22 steps.
22 steps. So we got there is a staircase up to the 91st floor with an average of 22 steps. Is that, it's just 22 steps to get to the 91st floor? Alex?
It's 2002 steps.
Well, okay, you can't just give me. Will Smith dies at the end of the movie. Don't spoil the movie.
By the way, they copied that off of my answer. So that was my answer, so I should get credit.
You get all of the credit, June. Here's all of the credit. It's coming at me. Okay. Hey, hold up, guys. Hold up, guys. 22 steps. Bella, tell us what the important thing we need to realize is. That's from one floor to the next. That's oh, come on. That's staircase what you could write on your paper.
May I come up and
Sure, June.
Dude, we already know what the answer is.
Well, too bad. Act like you don't.
I didn't pay attention because I don't like when the movie gets ruined.
Yeah.
All right, so it's white, so I would write down here and show your work. 'Cause I
So- I mean my paper.
you do.
Okay, Smith instead?
No. I don't think.
So guys, so because each
Hey guys,
floor,
remember June gets more respect than me even.
22 steps, you have to like times 22.
Label. 22 steps.
How do you erase?
Hey, are you up here taking a risk? No.
Yeah, guys.
22 steps.
And what?
Do you want to narrate and I can write? Do you like tell me what to do?
No.
Okay.
No, dude wants to write.
Where's the writing button?
Right here.
Dude, you're doing great.
So just try. It's done. My smart board is done.
You're doing great, dude.
Do you have that locker key?
Yes, this mic is on this, by the way.
It's perfect. Time
Realize what might be
91
Wow.
equals.
You got labels.
No, I don't.
You have to label.
these days.
You get 2,002 steps.
Yes, dude.
All right, love it.
Good job.
Here is another way that as we move forward and we work more with ratios, I'm not going to say you have to write this way down, but it might be a good idea because on your homework, you'll see problems like this. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe even on a mastery that might be coming some point soon. So if we wanted to set up a ratio is just a fraction. Okay, so 22 steps is for one floor. 22 steps is one floor. My smart board's just disagreeing with me. So then what we want, do we know a certain amount of steps or do we know a certain amount of floors? Miss? Or everyone, sure. You guys are awesome. So 91, we fill in here. And we ask ourselves, how do I get there? And the only thing we're allowed to do is multiply or divide, which is technically the same thing. We'll talk more about that later. We do not use addition subtraction in these situations. We only multiply or divide. So this is times 91, which means the top. Well, times 91. And that's how we get to, what was our answer? 2002 steps. Questions? You got 3-4 minutes to work on your homework.
This homework that I finished? I'm done. I'm done. I finished the work. Finish. What do you think I am?
Don't turn it in until we check it together. Right? You don't turn it in until we check it together. Extra credit. Sure, I'll give you extra credit. I'll give you 10 extra points. Oh, yeah, I need to pass that out. Yes, I need to pass that out. It's really like tomorrow's homework, but if I say it's today's homework, you'll mad at me for Friday homework. So, this is the next homework. I've realized if I hand it out at the beginning of class, some of you are sneaky sneaks and you're doing it during class. So, this isn't due until when?
Monday.
So, that would be
Monday.
because 2 business days, right?
So wait, hold on. So it would be today's
Yep.
So
So Monday, right? This is not due till Monday. Yeah, if you want to bring it to school on Saturday, I won't be here. Yes. We'll talk about it here in just a second. I'm going to pass out homework. And then I will be passing back. I'll be passing back homework from this week tomorrow. Oh, you already got it?
But you already gave me one. I got
You got it like AO? Thank you.
Good, yes.
It was harder than I thought it would be.
You about giving everyone extra one.
Mr. Hudson, you gave us both extra.
Where? Thank you. Those can stay on the ground. It doesn't even really matter. I need a closet. They need to give me a closet. You guys are awesome. You guys might be the best. You guys might be like my best class.
We are.
First and best class.
So, hold up. If you're starting, if you're starting to pack up, that's fine, but it doesn't need your mouth, right? That wouldn't be good for your teeth to use your mouth to pack up. B on your paper. If we don't do this in class, it is not your responsibility, right? Sometimes I run out of time. But if we wanted to do this, they tell us when you're standing on the 91st floor, you are 1,285 feet above the ground. How many stories are below you? About how many feet tall is each story of the building? So now we're not talking about steps. Our important numbers, and some of you already did this on your paper, is 91st floor. So how can I figure out? Okay, give me your eyes real quick. Put your pencil down for a second. How could I determine the feet per step? I want to know feet per floor, my bad. Feet per floor. How could I determine that? Wendy? Guys, I'm going to say this a bajillion times this year. That's an exaggeration. Per tells us to divide. So what we would do here, exactly what Lindy said, is do 1,285 feet, because feet came first, divided by the 91 floors. And what does that come out to be? 14.12 feet per floor, which just means your building's kind of tall, right? This room's probably not 14 feet tall, but to get to the next floor, in this building, apparently it is. And with that, that's all the time I got. Clip everything back in, and have a wonderful day. Do not run. That is unnecessary. Estes probably is not ready. What's that, Raphael? What's that? Singing?